Santa Clarita's hometown station, KHTS. This is the Coach's Corner. Myself, Kyle Jellings, filling in for Coach Herrick. Coach Herrick's over actually in Phoenix. He's going to the national title game. We didn't talk about that, but we'll talk about it next week.
He's supposed to.
Right?
I know. He's supposed to find us some super cool coaches to get.
We told him to get Frank Martin.
We would love to get Frank Martin.
Who I don't know why any recruit isn't playing for him. By the way, anyway,
he's the best.
Dustin Downen, he is of Marty's Flooring, and he is a special co-host today. And you're an expert when it comes to basketball because you're tall.
Mostly because I'm tall, yes.
Yeah, and flooring. All your flooring needs. Everything you need. Including, like, if you want him to just come by and clean your floor, he'll probably do that. Because I think he does that over at... You do pretty much everything, right?
Oh, we don't like to clean the floors.
Okay.
But we will give you a new floor.
Okay. All right. So we were talking basketball a little bit. We talk local sports. If you missed any of our local sports report, make sure you go to hometownstation.com. Check out the Santa Clarita Sports Report written by our KHTS Sports Director, Justin Powell. We talked baseball, a lot of baseball going on. There's also some news about the Masters University baseball, COC Athletics as well. And then, of course, Dodger baseball, which is coming up next on your hometown station, KHTS. Opening day. Lots of hope floating around. And Justin and I actually mess around all the time. And every once in a while, we get some cool interviews. So Justin and I actually were able to sit down with David Vassay. David Vassay is the host of Dodger Talk on AM 570 LA Sports, and he is also the Dodgers beat reporter for AM 570. And we actually caught up with him a couple weeks ago. We were able to sit down with him and talk Dodger baseball. So you're going to hear, we're asking some questions about him being in Phoenix and stuff for spring training, but we were able to, talk Dodger baseball. And with Dodgers coming up next, here is David Vassay. We have a very special guest on the line. He is David Vassay. He is the Dodgers beat reporter for the LA Dodgers for AM 570 LA Sports. He also is the host of Dodger Talk. David is kind enough to join us now. Hey, David, thanks for stopping by.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and you're over there in Arizona right now, vacationing, it seems. I'm following you on Instagram, and I see you're just taking BP and stuff.
Yeah. No, I did get challenged to lay down a bunt my first week here by Yasmani Grandal, and I got it in fair territory. I did my job. That would have moved the runner over.
What'd you win? What'd you win in the bet?
Not being shamed even more. I think that's. I walked away with my self-pride, even though that gets beaten up on a daily basis with these guys.
Nice. So I wanted to ask you, because you're a SoCal guy. You grew up in SoCal. You went to CSUN, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're a SoCal guy. You're living the dream.
Yeah, I was born and raised in the San Fernando Valley, Woodland Hills. Went to Notre Dame High School in Sherman Oaks. Went to Cal State Northridge, like you mentioned, with a brief stop at Moore Park Junior College, home of the Raiders. So, this is my dream job, to be able to cover the Dodgers on a daily basis, go on the same plane that they do, travel in the same hotels as they do. I'm with them more than my own family the past 5 years. So it's really been a dream job, and I'm very lucky that my wife has supported my dream and has allowed me to be away as much as I am from her and our two young kids.
Awesome. Thanks, David. And so I wanted to ask you, I wanted to get into nuts and bolts stuff for Dodgers. Dodgers had a great season last year. Didn't end the way Dodger fans really wanted it to, but there was a pretty epic run by the Cubs anyway. But I wanted to ask you specifically for Clayton Kershaw and for Coach Dave Roberts. I wanted to ask you, how do they, because they're the manager of the year and Clayton Kershaw is the best left arm on the planet. I wanted to ask you, how do you see them getting better this year?
Well, I think continuity is going to benefit them this year. Bringing back Justin Turner, Kenley Jansen, Rich Hill, and Chase Utley, I think really helps the continuity of the team. And I just think that having Dave Roberts being in charge for a second year, players know what to expect from him more than they did at this time a year ago. And if they can avoid the injury bug, I think they're in good shape. But one thing that people forget to talk about is, yes, it was an astronomical record-setting number of injuries that they had last year, a number of players they used on the major league roster. But if you look at the core infield guys, they never got hurt for an extended period of time. Adrian Gonzalez, Chase Utley, Corey Seager, Justin Turner, none of those guys missed significant time. So that was something that benefited the Dodgers last year, and part of the reason why they were able to sustain some of the other peripheral injuries.
Hey, Davis, Justin, I wanted to get into a little bit about the outfield. See where you're coming from here. First, who do you think starts more games this season? Yasiel Puig, Andre Ethier, or Andrew Toles?
Wow, that's a great question. I personally don't believe Andrew Toles will make the team coming out of spring training the way Ethier swinging the bat and just the numbers crunch. Yeah, Toles at this point in time, I know there's still 3 weeks left in spring training, but he really hasn't performed to the level we saw the first month he was here. So I really believe that he is going to benefit by getting more at-bats in the minor leagues and more seasoning. So I'd say really Jock Peterson's going to get the most at-bats, and I'd say after that Andre Ethier and then Yasiel Puig.
Speaking of Jock Peterson then, real quick, what is his ceiling? Is last year his ceiling? Does he get better, 25 home runs and 100 RBIs? Is he going to surpass that this season?
Well, he didn't have 100 RBIs last year. He was significantly short of that, but I think his ceiling is still there. I don't think last year was his ceiling. I think he has the potential to hit 30, 35 home runs and cut down on the strikeouts and make more contact, which he did last year. So I think there's still more room to grow. He's changed his swing, changed his stance, and his defense is one of the best in center field. So I think year 3 for a player of Jock's caliber is always a significant year. Third full year in the big leagues is usually the year you see which direction a player is going to go in his career.
There was a lot of talk in the offseason about, we're speaking with David Vassay, by the way, Dodgers beat reporter for AM 570 LA Sports. So you can also hear him on AM 570. He's the host of Dodger Talk. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about Chase Utley and what he has. He's won a World Series. He's an LA guy. He knows how to win in the playoffs. How big of a signing was that in the offseason?
Well, I think it was huge for just by the reaction he got from the players, from his teammates that wanted him back before they officially signed him back. And then once he was signed, there was a flurry of tweets from his teammates celebrating the fact that he's going to be back. I just think he holds players accountable. He doesn't need to say things. He just is kind of that guy that shows off by example. And if a 38-year-old player can work as hard as Chase and run out every ground ball the way Chase does, it kind of sets the standard for everybody else to fall in line. And he's a guy that only speaks when it's necessary. And he's a guy that really will hold some of these younger players accountable. And I think that's the biggest thing.
I think I have a theory here with his leadership. The pieces in place because they made it to the NLCS last year, and I'm pretty sure the Chicago Cubs and their fans are going to be hung over the entire season. So I think the Dodgers have a good shot. Do you think the Dodgers? Do you think they have the pieces in place to get to that next level?
You know what? I have the same theory. I feel like the way the Cubs celebrated this offseason, the way they were showered with so much adoration from their fans in Chicago, there could be some sort of hangover effect for them this year. There's no pressure now. They accomplished something that hadn't been accomplished in over 100 years. So I think the Chicago fans are happy and satisfied, even if they don't make it, even if they were not even to make it to the postseason this year. I think their fans would be satisfied. But I did talk to some people that have gone over the Cubs camp in Mesa, and they feel like Joe Madden will not allow that hangover effect to set in. So we'll see how that plays out. But I think the Dodgers top to bottom have more talent, and I really believe the Cubs pitching is a lot more fragile than the Dodgers, and we'll see where they end up at the end of the season. One thing the Cubs have done in the last year or two is trade away a lot of their prospects. So will they be able to add a piece that they need at the trade deadline this year, like they did last year with Chapman, if they don't have the same kind of minor league pieces? The Dodger pitching staff, I really believe by the end of the year, is going to be better than the Cubs because of the mere fact that Julio Urias is going to grow and mature and possibly become the second best pitcher on the staff by the time October rolls around.
What's your take on do we trade away prospects? Do we keep the prospects? What is your theory on that?
My theory is that prospects can not only help you by coming up and contributing, but also help you bring in a proven major league player. I'm not a big guy in ranking these minor league prospects. I'd rather have a proven veteran than a guy that everybody is saying he's great at AA or AAA. With a team like the Dodgers that's trying to win the World Series, they can benefit you by acquiring a piece like the Dodgers did by trading Jose De Leon for Logan Forsythe. That's a great example of the Dodgers are willing to trade from an area of strength, their minor league pitching, to get a proven player like Logan Forsythe that can actually contribute to a championship team. So I'm a big believer that prospects, yes, developing your farm system is huge, but not necessarily always to have those players play for you in your uniform. They're trade chips and assets to be traded away to get proven players.
Dave, go back to spring training real quick for us. Can you give us one surprise that kind of is looking good and one that's maybe looking not so good at this point in spring training?
Yeah, I really believe everybody jumped on the Andrew Toles bandwagon a little too prematurely, and basically with putting dirt on Andre Ethier's career after what he showed in spring training before he got injured. Ethier's been swinging the bat great, and like I said earlier, I really believe Andrew Toles is going to benefit from more seasoning in the minor leagues, especially by the way he's performed so far in spring training. A surprise? I don't know if there's been a surprise yet, really. This team is basically constructed coming into spring training the way we're going to see it on opening day. So I wouldn't say there's been any surprises, any standouts to guys that may contribute coming out this year. I think we all know what the Dodgers have.
He's David Vassegh, host of Dodger Talk and the Dodgers beat reporter on AM 570 LA Sports. You've been a Dodger fan your whole life, I assume?
Yeah.
You're an LA sports guy. It's been a really long time. I was 2 years old the last time they won it. What do you think it would mean to this city for them to win a World Series title?
I think it would eclipse anything the Lakers have done championship-wise since 2000. That was the first time they won since 1988, and I think you would get the same effect, if not more, if the Dodgers won the World Series. Just picture Chicago last year and duplicate that in Los Angeles. I think it would be that big and that kind of celebration if the Dodgers won the World Series and when they win the World Series, especially with these group of players that have gone to the playoffs 4 straight years. The city is emotionally attached to these players, and I think that makes it even greater when a team wins a championship, when the fans really feel attached to the players. And that's what Chicago had with those young guys, and I think that's what the Dodgers have with these players.
I agree, and it's something that it's actually that for me was a pleasant surprise because of the front office was very sabermetricians to so to speak, and I didn't want to get attached to anybody other than pretty much Clayton Kershaw, and so that's been a pleasant surprise. Signing Turner, signing Jansen, and yeah, no, it's been fun. I have to ask you this, or else my dad will disown me. But we have one dad question for you. And it is, I was like, Dad, we're getting David Vassegh. He's followed you for years. He and I used to listen to you when you produced Petros and Money. And I'm like, Dad, you can ask him any question. We're going to talk Dodgers. What do you want to talk to him about? And he sends me a text back and he says, where's the best burger when he's traveling around the country? I'm like, Dad, you don't want to talk about anything? Best burger getting at any place in the country that you travel to with the team. Is there a burger you look forward to?
Wow. Yeah, that's a great question. I really enjoy the foodie questions because I do like to go out and be adventurous when I go to these different cities to really taste what the city has to offer. Phoenix actually is probably the 3rd best pizza city in all of the country behind New York and Chicago. They got really great thin crust pizza here. Phoenix is a sleeper foodie town, by the way. But best burger. Wow, that's a tough question. I love my burgers. Off the top of my head, I'd say Pittsburgh Primanti Brothers because of the way they top those French fries on top of the sourdough bread. So off the top of my head, I'll say Pittsburgh with Primanti brothers.
He's gonna. Just so you know, we have a guy from Pittsburgh here at the office. He's going to be insufferable now. So thank you for that answer. Yeah. So
I apologize, but yeah, off the top of my head, I'd have to say that.
What's your favorite ballpark to go to when you're not other than Dodger Stadium?
I'd say it's either Wrigley or Fenway, just because of the history. You could feel it when you walk in the tunnels, and it's still basically constructed for players that were a lot shorter and not as big as these guys are today. So I'd say it has to be Fenway or Wrigley. It's just really special, and to be there for the NLCS last year with the hype and the energy of that city, it was pretty special, even though the Dodgers came up short.
Real quick, Dave, have you seen Hunter Green play in person?
No, I have not seen him play. He's been trying to get me out to a game at Notre Dame. He's been trying to get me to come out to watch him play, but with my schedule, I haven't been able to do it. But he's a great kid, and we've become friends over the last 6 or 8 months. I met him up in AT&T Park. He was there with his dad, and we got to know each other and keep in contact. So I'm rooting for him. Hopefully he goes number 1 in the draft, but I'm a UCLA fan too, so if he doesn't, he'll be playing in Westwood.
There you go.
Awesome. Hey, David, thank you so much for taking some time. I appreciate you.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot for having me.
And
appreciate it.
Again, I've been following you for years, and keep up the good work, man. We love hearing you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
He's David Vassay. He was kind enough to join Justin and I for a quick interview a couple weeks ago. So there was some stuff in there, like Andre Ether, talking to Andre Ether and Andrew Tolles. Andrew Tolles is actually starting today. He's leading off today. So actually, he maybe he listened to our interview, and he started. Andrew Tolles probably picked some things up, and now and Andre Ether is hurt to start the season, which is really disappointing.
Yeah, it's rough.
He's had a couple years. There was a couple years ago when Andre Ethier was the most clutch hitter in baseball, and he hasn't been able to get back into the rhythm and get back into the fold of things to play regularly because of injuries and stuff. But hopefully, again, 10-day DL. Hopefully, he's back. Dodger baseball is on your hometown station, KHTS. 1:10 is first pitch. That's actually why we're flexed back today. We failed to mention that we were flexed back today. We're flexed back here today because Dodger baseball is on the air next on your hometown station, KHTS. Again, you can read the sports report, the Santa Clarita Sports Report, by going to hometownstation.com. KHTS Sports Director Justin Powell is the one that takes care of those. He'll have some Dodger baseball news in there, I'm sure.
That's me.
Moving forward, and Dustin Downen of Marty's Flooring is here with us, special co-host.
President.
Anything else about the Dodgers you want to
it's on? One of those years, I think David's right, when it comes to the Dodgers have probably top to bottom the best lineup, best overall team in baseball. However, the Cubs are really, really good. They're kind of more top heavy, but with Baez and Chris Bryant and Rizzo and all those, and Addison Russell, really great baseball team and really, really, really great coach in Joe Madden. So that's the hill to climb. Now, I honestly, and I was not kidding when I asked that question to David about, I think that they may have a championship hangover because it's been so long. So I'm hoping, that's the Dodgers' best bet are, like, I'm part of the team. I've been a Dodger fan my whole life. So objectively, yeah, right. I think that this is a good year for the Dodgers. Have a legit shot because Julio Urias, I think, is going to be a big contributor this year, because at least that's what I'm reading, and that's what people are saying, is that he's going to take leaps and bounds better this year. Clayton Kershaw is the best regular season pitcher maybe of all time. Depending on what he does this year, he may be the best regular season pitcher of all time. Now, can he get over the hump where he's not overworked in the postseason
and get shelled in the postseason?
Exactly, and that's the issue. It's between the ears now because we know he has the stuff, and hopefully he doesn't get overworked. The bullpen ran out of gas last year. They haven't done a ton to help that. However, health when it comes to the starting rotation is going to be a huge factor for the Dodgers moving forward. But I think this is as good a shot as any. I honestly think they have a shot to get the most wins in the National League, and I think they have a shot to win the NL and the World Series. I truly believe that, because the front office is invested in this team and they care about this team. They don't care about as much. I'm sure they do, but they don't care as much about making money. I think they have a good shot, and I think they're setting themselves up for the future. The injuries, I would say the injuries are an issue, but they were the most injured team last year, and they got to the NLCS. So I think injuries may be an issue if it overworks the bullpen. That's what I think the major issue for the Dodgers will be.
Just before we can finish that off, well, I think you're brushing over that. I mean, they better get the ball to Kenley Jansen, because if they don't, that bullpen is not great, and they did not upgrade it very much.
Their lineup they have a very good lineup, dude. Yeah. I think they're going to be able to hit the ball.
Yeah.
And the starting three with Hill, obviously Kershaw, and if Urias, that's 90 starts. Say they each start 30 games this year, probably more than that, but they all start 90 games this year, and you can rotate through the back end of the rotation and pick up some wins there, and they can do it with their bats. I think they have a good shot to get it, good positioning in the postseason. Now, San Francisco and Arizona and maybe the Padres will probably have something to say about that. Maybe not the Padres. Anyway, listen to the Dodger game on your hometown station, KHTS. 110 is your first pitch, so make sure you tune in. I am Kyle Jellings, Dustin Downen, co-hosting. Justin Powell, KHTS Sports Director. We're going to wrap things up next on the Coach's Corner on AM 1220 KHTS. Santa Clarita's hometown station, KHTS. This is the Coach's Corner. Filling in myself, Kyle Jellings, Dustin Downen of Marty's Flooring as a special co-host.
Trying hard over here.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Working hard.
The tallest person we could find, and we were talking hoops, so we decided to pull him in.
It made sense.
Justin Powell, KHTS Sports Director, also in studio, and we talked to run the gamut here. We ran the gamut. We talked some NBA. We talked women's college hoops. We talked local sports, which, by the way, if you want some Santa Clarita sports, go to hometownstation.com, and we have a sports report pretty much every day.
What's the men's prediction for the NCAA?
Oh, we didn't do that.
Oh, that's true.
Done.
That's true. See, this is why we brought you here. What do you think? No, but let's set this up right. The NCAA men's college basketball final is tonight. North Carolina is playing Gonzaga, and that game is on tonight. That's why actually Coach Herrick is not here. He is in Phoenix at the game, because all the coaches in the entire basketball world all apparently go to the championship site, and they are playing tonight. Okay, Gonzaga is the kind of the, I don't know how to describe Gonzaga. They're like everybody's rooting for them, right?
I don't know. Are they though?
I guess so. Why not?
People are angry with UNC. They're all about all the cheating stuff.
Well, for good reason. Stuff. We don't have time to talk about that.
I think people love to hate Gonzaga because they said their schedule was too light.
Yep.
That's why they were winning all of their games.
Yep.
And now that they're in the championship game,
I mean,
what's the excuse?
Yeah.
They play a tough non-conference early on, but my problem was they didn't play anyone in the tournament.
Nobody.
So
wait,
that's the nice thing about being a 1 seed, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's 20, you only lost one game.
You earn it.
You lost one game. No matter who you play. Anyway.
Okay, go.
Who do you got?
I go Gonzaga.
Zags?
UNC.
I think, yeah.
By 4?
I think there's really great guard play, but the bigs for Gonzaga are troubling. They make me a little bit nervous and the reason I'm picking UNC is because I picked them on my bracket. It's on the wall in the back.
He's on the win right now.
I think it's going to be the whole thing. It's going to be the UConn girls situation though. UNC's always the team to beat.
That's true.
So these guys are going to play up.
Roy Williams knows how to coach,
and UNC's center is going to still be gassed from playing so hard last game.
That's true.
Because that guy went all out.
I'm rooting for the Zags. I think North Carolina wins. Also, if North Carolina wins, I win the pool in the back. This has been the Coach's Show. Coach's Corner on your hometown station, KHTS. Thanks, Dustin. Appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
Make sure you Marty's Flooring, 661-252-2522 for all your flooring needs. Make sure you check out Marty's Flooring. Thanks, Mend Cryotherapy, Douglas Furniture, Jersey Mike's, Justin Powell, again, Dustin Downen. He is the man at Marty's Flooring. And I am Kyle Jennings. Appreciate you hanging out. Coaches will be back next week. See ya.